Hello. So the Lord is saying that He is going to right every wrong and that justice will prevail. Okay? He is going to right every wrong and justice will prevail. He was saying this to me last night. He's going to reset everything back to the way that it was supposed, like the way it should be, the way it's intended to be. Okay? And he was giving me some examples. So he was talking about adversaries. Okay? Say, for instance, I'm just going to rattle off some of the various things he was telling me, okay? Because this message is for so many chosen ones. Say, for instance, your adversaries wanted you to gain weight, just as an example, okay? You're going to start to lose weight. Say they wanted you to be sick. You're going to start to be very healthy, like 100% healthy, okay? If you did have like some inflammation or some some things that were a little bit off or something like that, that's going to go away, okay? Say if they wanted you to, I don't know, like say they wanted you to be homeless, just say you're going to end up buying a home or moving into a better home than what you already are in, okay? So if you're not in a home, you're going to be in a home. If you're already in a home, you're going to be in a better home. If say you're renting, you're going to get a great deal and rent a better home, right? For the same price or something. Or you're going to buy a home. For a lot of you, you're actually going to buy a home, okay? The Lord was also saying this about like Carney in Canada. I've shared a lot with you all. I know that some of you listeners are Canadian. Others of you are from, all over. But for those of you that are Canadian, you'll know what I'm talking about. And for those of you that are not, I've shared a lot of Canadian things. And I haven't done so lately because there's no need to, okay? There's a lot of things that are happening in Canada that I feel like only Canadians know about, okay? I feel like other people in the world may know about it, but they don't know about it in the true way that it really is, right? How corrupt it really is, how deep it really goes, and things like that, right? And that's intentional. That's because the Canadian government doesn't want other people to know it's as bad as it is. They want people to think that it's a little bad when it's really a lot bad, okay? There's a lot, but I have shared on my channel on the community tab things in the past as to how just downward spiral Canada is going as a country due to our absolute, corrupt, ridiculous, asinine government, okay? But the Lord is saying that I've already told you all that the prophecies are all going to come to pass, okay? The prophecies are all going to come to pass. And they're going to start coming to pass in 2026. And they're actually going to start in this spring season, okay? Which we just rolled into last week, okay? Like I said, come April 1st and beyond is when we're going to start to see things unravel. And this was the analogy that the Lord was giving me last night when he was saying all this to me. He was actually likening it to a spool of thread. He was saying it's like a bobbin or a spool of thread where it's wound up, right? But then it starts to unravel. And the more that you unravel a spool of thread, it takes time, right? But eventually, depending on how much thread there is, you're going to get to the end of the thread, right? And so that's what's happening at this time, is that the Lord is going to start. It's already started in March, but it's going to pick up pace in April, is start unraveling this proverbial spool of thread. And as this unravels, he was also comparing it to an onion with layers. Is each layer, just like with an onion, the outside is kind of like more dry, right? But then as you get to the heart of the onion, the more and more like juice and meat of the onion you get to, right? You get further away from the outside protective skin and deeper to like the core of it, okay? That's what the Lord is doing at this time and will continue to do throughout April, May, and June, is pulling back these layers And as these layers start to get stripped back, the more and more closer to the heart of the truth, like the crux, we're going to get, okay? So he was comparing that, unraveling things as in like a spool of thread, and peeling back the layers one by one as in with an onion, okay? And this has already started happening in March, and it's going to continue and pick up momentum in April, okay? I told you all that these adversaries weren't going to go down without a fight. They were going to ride it till the wheels fell off, but that they were going to go down, right? And so this is what you chosen ones have been battling with, especially throughout this winter season, throughout December to March, is taking on these last Goliaths, right? Like it talks about in the Bible about the promised land, that there was many giants, right? And so there just wasn't just one giant, there's many. And the Lord has given the story of David with Goliath many times in the past too. And so, you know, you've been since last summer, chosen one, but it really started to pick up in the fall, right? As of we'll go with like August, September time, in that kind of area, okay? You started battling these giants, and you spent all fall season, all winter season of 2025 battling these giants, and then obviously it rolled into 2026. But now we're in the official, now that we've hit March, we're officially in on the Hebrew calendar into 2026 now, okay? So I know that we've technically on the Gregorian calendar been in 2026 for, you know, almost 3 months now, since January, right? But no, the Lord doesn't consider it that way. He considers it that we've now hit into 2026, okay? So with that said, that matters because some of you all have been waiting for some of these things to happen in January, February, March, but it wasn't time yet, okay? But now that we've hit official 2026, that's when, you know, April, May, June, that's when these things can start to go, okay? And so that's why you've been being attacked, chosen one, is because these adversaries, including Carney and the liberal government and such, they know that the proverbial noose is tightening, okay? They've been feeling that chokehold that I've talked about in past messages getting tighter and tighter. And so they know that they're running out of steam, okay? They're running out of energy, they're running out of options, things like that. And this is why you've seen them basically like pull out all the last stops, is because there's really nothing left for them to do. They've basically, I've said this in the past word, they've played all their aces already, right? It's like, I don't know any card game, but you know, any specific card game, when you got your good cards, right? Once you've played those cards, you're done. You might be able to bluff, you might be able to ride it through a couple rounds, but once those ace cards, those prime choice cards have been played, you know, as the card holder, that you're you know, it's a matter of seconds or minutes, right? It's the same thing for them. It's a matter of days, weeks, months. And this is how they've been feeling since the fall season. And that's why I put out the word back in the fall season about the fall season, as in the Lord was highlighting the word fall. So meaning that they started to fall in the fall season, and they've been falling ever since, okay? And so this is why with Carney, he's basically given up the ghost, where he's stopped with the whole nice guy song and dance, trying to appease people, like two-faced, right? The two-faced, because this is the thing with these adversaries, chosen one, is that they're two-faced. They have their true face, which is corrupt and evil and demonic, and then they have their second face, which is their mask, okay? This mask, when they have some aces up their sleeve and they still got a couple good cards in their hand, they can keep up that mask. That mask is considered one of their prime cards, okay? But once they've played it all out and they're down to their last dollar, they're down to nothing left, and all the cards have been played, they can no longer keep up that mask, that facade, okay? When a narcissist is doing well, when a demonic narcissist is doing well, it's not very hard for them to keep up the charade, the mask, all that stuff. And they pretend to be this good person, this good parent, this good leader, this good friend, this good partner, all this different stuff. They can keep up the facade. But once the narcissist starts to unravel, okay, they can no longer keep up the mask. It requires too much energy and too much. They just, whatever they need to prop it up, the wind is knocked out of their sails. And so now they're down to the last dollar. Like I said, like if you have like these are people that basically have $1,000 but like to put on airs and act like they have $10,000. They really don't. They have $1,000, but they like to act like they have $10,000. Okay, it's like that. It's like that fake. Okay, and I speak in examples, but these examples mean something because it even goes so deep as like it can be that though is that these adversaries will pretend that they have more than they have. So when I say this example, it's not just off the top of my head, like there's relevance to it. Like they really do pretend that they have more material wealth than they really do, okay? So as the example, just that's on the side note, okay? But as the example, they have $1,000, but they pretend like they're a high roller, like they are rolling in it. They got 10 G's, right? They're a big baller. That's what they try to pretend to be. But once that $1,000 gets spent and no more comes in, right? There's not anything coming in, it's just going out. In order to keep up the facade, that narcissist needs to spend like 500 of their 1,000 and bring in another 500, and then spend that 500 and bring another 500. There needs to be an in and out in order to maintain the false image that the $1,000 is 10 grand, okay? But what happens if that narcissist spends $500 and the 500 doesn't come back in? You know what I'm saying? And then they wait it out and they try this and they try that and they try this. They're tried and true tactics that always bring in that $500 and it doesn't come in. Well, now they have $500 instead of 1,000. So now they're trying to still keep up the charade of $10,000, but they don't have 1,000 now. Now they have $500. It's a lot harder to keep up a charade that you have 10 grand when you have $500 versus 1,000, right? So then they end up spending, say, 300 of that 500, and then they're hoping it's going to come back in, and it doesn't come back in. Now they've cut themselves even more down to size where they're trying to keep up the high roller 10 grand lifestyle with $300. Like it was hard enough to do with 1,000, but absolutely near impossible with 300, okay? These people now are down to their last $50. And so how are you supposed to keep up a $10,000 facade when you have $50? It was tricky already with $1,000, really hard with 500, almost impossible with 300. Now they have $50. You see what I'm trying to say? And I say that figuratively, but that can also be literal. Like these people could literally be down to their last $50 type of a thing, both spiritually and physically, okay? So that just bodes to the point I'm trying to make, is that they have spent it down to literally the last bit. And so because they can no longer, going back to the money example, because they only have $50, people start to see it. They start to see the cracks, like, you don't have $10,000. You've been lying. You even if you had it before, which I doubt you did, but even if you did, you only have 50 now. You know what I'm saying? And so then that narcissist feels so like caught, like they feel like they're exposed, right? Because they can't keep up the lie today, and they know that people can see that, and they also see that the lie they were trying to maintain in the past of having 10 grand when they had 1,000, that was seen through too. And so then they can no longer prop up the fake lifestyle of having $10,000 with $50. And so now they end up being very, they show their true self, right? There's nowhere to mask up or to act out or pretend or run to. So they have they know they only have $50. They're upset and bothered and jaded and angry that they didn't get the money back to keep up the false facade like they were hoping to, like they had it gotten away with in the past. And on top of that, the people that they were keeping up the charade to have now like caught them. They've been called out, okay? And so now they're caught on both sides. They're caught from their own perspective, but they're caught from other people's perspective too. So it's an internal an internal scramble, and then it's an external scramble as well. And so this causes them to know that the jig is up. I can no longer keep up the fakeness, the fake leader, the fake friend, the fake lover, the fake person, whatever it is, right, in my community, because I know that I went from 1,000 to 50, and they know I went from 1,000 to 50. And so then they end up showing their true hand, whether they want to or not, because they've literally ran out of gas. There's nowhere to go. So they will start to act out, okay? And they're basically desperate. Their backs against a wall. And so you see this by them like basically going delusional. Like they start to overplay and go over and above. And so before, when they had the 1,000, right, and tried to pretend they had the 10,000, when they had the 1,000, they could control things. They could keep it even keel. They could keep it, all the balls juggling at the same time. It was tricky, but they could do it. But it was very, very dependent on that money, that 500 rolling back in. You throw one wrench in their plans, and everything falls apart, okay? And so that's what's happened, is that all these narcissist, demonic people have started to drop the balls that they were juggling. And when they were juggling, they were showing off, like, look at me, look at what I can do, look at me. And they did that, and so they attracted all eyes on them, which is what they wanted. They want attention. They want everyone to puff them up. They want to look like a big deal. Like I said, have $1,000, but act like they have 10 grand. They want to give off this facade. So then it comes back to bite them, because everyone's watching them juggle, and then all of a sudden the wind picks up and blows the balls, and half the balls fall, and the juggling act stops. They can't. Do you know what I'm trying to say? They can't keep up appearances anymore. And so then they know that they dropped those balls, and they know everyone else saw them drop those balls. And so instead of being humble and laughing at themselves and saying, oh, shucks, gee, I dropped the balls, you know what I mean? Or like somebody else saying, like, no, because now they know that they expose themselves, and they know others are exposed to them as well. And so it proves, like, it's hard to explain, like, it proves to them and to others that they can't keep the show going, okay? And because it's an ego thing, a humble person knows that they can't keep all the balls rolling at all times. I know I can't, you can't. So if we drop a ball or two, we take it in stride and we go, hey, easy come, easy go. It is what it is. And we just carry on. But we're also not trying to attract all eyes on us either, right? We're not trying to say, hey, look at me, watch me make $1,000 look like $10,000. We're not trying to do that. But because these narcissists have a big fat ego, when they drop the balls, they know they dropped them, so they're disappointed in themselves, right? But to add insult to injury, they know others saw them drop them too. And so this is where this embarrassment comes into play, okay? That we hear about. They're embarrassed, they feel stupid, they look stupid, all this type of stuff. But the truth is these people are human, right? And like, I mean, yeah, they have demonic, you know what I'm trying to say, but they're in a human suit. So all they have to do is humble themselves, and they will realize, hey, humans make mistakes. I don't need to have all eyes on me. I don't have to prove that I can juggle 15 balls at once. I don't have to make $1,000 look like 10,000. If I have 10,000, great. If I have 1,000, great. If I have $10, great. Why do I feel the need to have people like stroke my ego or give me attention or puff me up or make me, you know what I'm saying? Like, why do I need that validation, those accolades? This is, and so this is where they're heading, okay? The first step is exposure to themselves and exposure to others, so that this mask drops, so that they see their true selves and others see their true selves. And yes, it is a form of justice and punishment, but it's also on the way to teach them about humility, because that's what these people need more than anything, is a good old-fashioned humbling, okay? And that is what the Lord is going to bring to these adversaries as we roll into this spring season. He is going to bring them a good old-fashioned humbling. They are not going to have a piece of humble pie. They're going to eat an entire humble pie. And they're going to have this be kicked off. It's already started happening. It started unraveling, but the unraveling momentum is going to pick up. It's going to involve them being exposed to themselves, which a lot of them already have. Then they're going to be exposed to others, which some of them haven't yet. Others of them have. Others of them is just the beginning. There's going to be more and more and more exposure as things unravel, okay? And that's the other thing too that the Lord was saying, is that there's going to be, we've been talking about it, it was prophesied that there's exposure coming, okay? And that's going to start kicking off here in April, May, and June, is more of this exposure. Basically, what's been happening for the last 6 months is that this has started, it's in the swing of things, this has started already happening, but you needed to defeat these giants, chosen one, just like the Bible talks about in the Promised Land, right? And not only that, but they were basically given the allowance to ride it till the wheels fell off, okay? Just like with Pharaoh, how on his chariot, he literally rode so hard after the Israelites that hit the chariot, the wheels on his chariot fell off. And as much gusto as he had, it just rolled him right into the Red Sea, right? You know what I'm saying? And so the Lord is basically allowing these adversaries to ride it till the wheels fell off, just like he did with Pharaoh. But they're going to meet their demise. And for a lot of them, it's going to be a spiritual demise, right? It's going to be the death to their ego, the death to their image, the death to their reputation, the death to the facade, death to the, the fake image, the falseness, and also death to their false image to themselves, okay? I hope we're understanding it's a two-pronged thing. One prong is with others, but another prong is themselves, right? I'm hearing the Lord right now say that Michael Jackson song, Man in the Mirror. That's why I'm starting with me. I'm searching for the man in the mirror. I'm hoping he can change his ways. No message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, you can start with yourself to make that change. Now, I'm probably fumbling the words, but you all know the song, right? I just heard that. And so that Man in the Mirror song is talking about, so this is, hallelujah, hallelujah. So the Lord is saying that in order for the world to bring change, we have to change ourselves, okay? And that's another thing too, is that we're going to see peace, okay? The Lord is it was prophesied, at least by myself anyways, that the Lord is going to be bringing peace back on earth, okay? He's going to put God first where he belongs. Sorry, I had to pause for a quick second because as I was just talking, I had to suddenly sneeze, okay? So that was confirmation that what I'm saying is bang on, okay? Confirmation. The Lord is saying, don't look at what it looks like right now. He is starting April here and moving forward. It's going to take some time, but he is bringing about peace, okay? There's going to be peace, and he's going to reset some things back to normal. We've already started to see it happening where there's going to be tougher laws and things like that for like child pedos and things. You know, I don't know if you've been seeing that, but I have. And like, this is the thing, is that while, for instance, the Carney government is trying to unravel Canada and make Canada turn into this like weird little design that he has in his twisted mind, that's not what's going to end up happening. And this is why every time because the jig is up for him, okay? He has been exposed and he doesn't have the support that he thought he did or that he wanted to have, or maybe he did have once upon a time. It's not there anymore, and he knows that, okay? So he's tried to supplement this by conjuring up mock support, okay? Making it look like more people support him than they do, that he's popular, that he's doing better than ever, all of this. That's not true. I live in Canada and I see the commentary. It's so bad for him that Canada's he's trying to push this bill that makes it so that citizens are not allowed to talk about the government on social media and things like that. Well, like, tell me you're insecure without telling me you're insecure. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't stop people from having an opinion about you, from speaking bad about you, from having an opinion. It just, you know what I'm saying? And even if somebody thinks badly of you, you know, this is the thing, is a humble person doesn't care if people think bad about them or not, right? And this is you, chosen one, you're humble. So you've had so many people slander you and talk bad about you and try to mock you and defame you, but you don't care, right? And it's because you don't have, you know, you're secure with yourself. And so it doesn't faze you how other people think about you, what they say about you, how they feel, right? But with insecure people, which usually are demonic narcissists, they cannot stand knowing somebody thinks illy of them, okay? So they may try to, in false ways, change how those people perceive them, either through lies, love bombing, you know, a grand gesture like giving some money or something, which is something else he's planning to try to do in a couple months, things like this, sugarcoating, whatever it is, to try to bribe or buy the affections or the positivity from that person, okay? But if that either doesn't work or they know it won't work, okay, then they will make you an enemy and they will try to establish control over you. And this is something that a lot of you chosen ones have gone through in your in your orbits, like in your personal lives. You have had this happen with these narcissists around you where maybe here or there in the past they tried to bribe you, like they tried to love bomb you or gaslight you or lie or buy your affections, you know what I mean? Something like that. And if they did that and it didn't work or work the way they wanted it to, then instead of changing themselves, like, where, you know what I mean, where they stop being like that, you know, stop being narcissistic and judgmental and miserable and all this different stuff. Instead, they just decide that you're an enemy now, okay? And they make it their mission to destroy your character because, for one, they want to punish you for how you feel about them or what you think about them or whatever it may be, like your opinion on them, your negative opinion of them. They want to punish you for that. And also, on top of that, they want to make sure that they can go and jump ahead of you because they don't know if you're going to go and say a bunch of things about them and blow up their facade, because that's something they would do to you. If the shoes were on the other feet, that's what they would do, right? So they assume that that's what you're going to do. But again, you're such a humble person that you wouldn't do that, right? Because somebody who's truly humble doesn't make it like, you're not so egotistical that you think, well, I don't like so-and-so and I don't like so-and-so, even though it's for good reason, chosen one. Just because you don't like them and it's for solid reasons, it doesn't mean that you're going to go and completely sabotage them and destroy them. You know what I mean? You're not going to do that because you're a humble person, because you know that even though you have an opinion on somebody that's negative for good reason, that your opinion is just that, just an opinion, and it doesn't have enough weight. Like, you're not so significant and important that you should get to have the authority to go and run rank on somebody's life. You know what I'm trying to say? That's why God blesses you, because he understands that you, like, this is why Christians take it. We take it on the cheek and we turn the other cheek, right? This is why we do that. And people think it's weak, but in actuality, Christians are so strong and so humble that even though, you know, you could have 10 people try and hurt you and you have every right to go and sabotage them, you do, it would be justified, you still don't do it. And you don't do it because you're weak. You don't do it because you're so humble that you know that you're not in that position. Only God can judge, not you. Even though your judgment is fair and accurate, you're not a judge, right? And so you technically have all rights and abilities to go and do what they do to you and go slander them and do all this stuff and blast off on them like they do to you, and, you know, be miserable and da 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 da. But you don't do those things not because you can't, or because you're foolish or you're dumb or you're weak. You don't do those things because you're strong and you're humble and you know your place. You know that even though you're warranted, you don't have the authority to run that type of way on someone's life, right? But they don't feel that way because they're the opposite. They're egotistical and they're narcissistic. And so they would do that to you if they were in your shoes, so they think you're going to do that to them. So they want to beat you to the punch by going and telling everybody with a jump start of how terrible, horrible, and awful you are, so that then if you do come along down the road and say, oh, this person's terrible, horrible, they will take it with a grain of salt, because this narcissist has already went and got in their ear about you. You see what I mean? To ruin your credibility. So that in the event that you go and say something like they think that you possibly could, or like they would if they were you, now that person isn't going to take you as serious, okay? And they might discount or discredit what you had to say about the narcissist. That's why they do this, right? And so going back to the Carney thing, that's what happened, was that he lied and pretended with his mask facade all last year in 2025 that he had all this support, and he didn't have it. It was a complete lie from the beginning. But he had enough, energy, so to speak, that he could keep that facade up. But then now that people are starting to put two and two together, because like I said in past message, the Lord is awakening people, the second string, right? The first string already happened. Now he's awakening the second string. So more and more people are becoming aware of the truth. And because of that, they are taking everything that he says and does with a grain of salt, and they are weighing it with more clarity than they were in the past, okay? So he didn't have as much support as he tried to deceive and say he did, but what support he may have had is now in question, because that support is now looking at him twice, because they are now seeing him with more accuracy than they were in the past, okay? And so either way, whether it's A or B, he's lost a lot of support. And so now, because he's played all of his aces and he's run out of good cards, he's going down the good old-fashioned road that the narcissists do by default when they're desperate and they have no other options, is force, control. It's exactly what Pharaoh did with the Israelites with slavery, right? Make it happen, force it to happen, control, dictator, where we go over and above, because we're trying to compensate for the fact that people know what we're about, right? They figured us out. And we're upset within ourselves because we can't keep up the mask anymore. We've exposed ourselves to ourselves, and we've exposed ourselves to others. And so now they're upset, Carney's upset, and these narcissists are upset and bothered within themselves. And so instead of taking that humble pie and taking the high road and bowing out and being graceful and all this other stuff like the chosen ones would do, instead they want to go for the jugular. You know what I'm saying? They're angry, they're mad, they're agitated because they're mad at themselves. They've embarrassed themselves, they feel embarrassed, and others are looking at them with like shame. They're ashamed of themselves and others are shameful for them. Others feel embarrassed for them. Secondhand embarrassment, the Lord is saying, hallelujah. Secondhand embarrassment, right? You know how you can feel embarrassed for somebody else? That's what's happening with these narcissists at this time, is they've embarrass themselves. And it's because they started out with that juggling example of saying, look at me, I can juggle 20 balls at once. Aren't I amazing? Watch me, watch me. And so, yes, they had eyes on them for a time being, but eventually you're going to drop some balls because it's not realistic to think that you can just keep juggling 20 balls when the average human juggles 10, right? You know what I'm saying? And again, they didn't have $10,000. They had 1,000. They were trying to say, watch me throw my money around looking like I have 10 G's when they really only had 1,000, okay? And so because the facade could only go for so long before it eventually broke down, that's either where these people are today as I speak, or they will be in that position in April, okay? Where there's that exposure. And like I said, this is important because it's going to expose them to their audience, right? And it's going to expose them to themselves. And this is what is step one. Some people learn the easy way, and some people have to learn the hard way. A lot of these narcissistic demons have to learn the hard way, and they're in government, they're at your job, chosen one, they're your exes, they're your family members, they're your friends, okay? They have to learn the hard way. These are narcissistic, demonic people. And they've done things wrong, okay? They've pretended to be someone they're not. They've sold people a lie. They went and slandered and gossiped about you and told lies on you just to discredit you so that they could look better. And in the event that you ratted out or what's that word? I can't think of the word, but tattled or whatever you want to say, right? They wanted to beat you to the punch so that whoever you went to down the road would discredit you because they already got sold lies about you, right? So say for instance, just say for example off the top of my head that this narcissist cheated on you, okay? You never once cheated on this narcissist, but they cheated on you all the time. And it's actually why you broke up with this narcissist. There was other reasons too, but one of the top reasons was because this narcissist cheated on you all the time. This narcissist will go, they know inside they're a cheater, okay? They know that they lost you because they're a cheater. They feel ashamed about the fact that they're a cheat, and that they feel embarrassed that you know they're a cheat, okay? And so they don't want others to know they're a cheat, because then they'll feel even more embarrassed and ashamed than they already do from themselves and from you, right? That'll just add even more salt in the wound. And so they can't control that they cheated on you. It's already happened. And they can't control that they know those two things have already been happened. So what they'll do now to save as much face as they can is run and jump the gun and tell everybody and their dog that you cheated, that you're just a big cheater, you this, you that, you this, so that in the event that, for one, they want to punish you for the fact that you are aware of their dirt, like that you're aware of their truth, and for the fact that you revealed their truth to them, okay? They have a bone to pick with you over that. So that's one reason. The second reason is that in the event that, say, a week, a month, a year, or 5 years down the road, you're talking to somebody and it's like a mutual person you both know, and it happens to come up in conversation, and they say, oh, why did you and so break up? And you say, oh, they cheated all the time. They've already went and gotten to that person, so that when you say the truth, that person says, why'd y'all break up? And the truth is because that person is a cheater. You tell them that. This person knows that 3 months ago, 3 weeks ago, 3 days ago, 3 years ago, this narcissistic ex went to them already and said, oh yeah, I had to break up with so-and-so, you chose one, because they were such a cheater, a cheat. They just cheat. And like, that's a total lie. You never once cheated. They're the cheater, right? But then this way, they feel satisfied because they got back at you by making these people think you're a cheater when you're not, and think something badly of you, right? That's what you get for seeing the truth in them, okay? For embarrassing them, but all you did was just see truth. You didn't do anything wrong. And then secondly, it's a double win, because now they feel satisfied that if you go to that person in the future and say, well, so-and-so was a cheat, they will wonder if you're only saying that because you're the cheater. Like if that's projection, you know what I'm saying? And so that's just a little example off the top of my head, but this is what these narcissists do. And so they need to be exposed. So this is the other thing too, is I'm kind of went off on a little bit of a sidestep there, but this is something else the Lord was saying, chosen one, is that the truth is going to be revealed, okay, about you. And so if you were in relationships with people and that happened to you, where your ex was a cheater, they were just dirty and did you wrong, and they went and told everybody, well, first of all, it seemed like they got away with it. They're not going to get away with it. They are going to get dished some sort of karma back to them, aka judgment, wrath for what they did to you if they haven't received it already, okay? And then on top of it, anybody that they went to in the past, it's going to be revealed the truth, okay? Because say, for instance, that cheating example happened. This is what this looks like, what I'm talking about. This is what this is where justice comes in, okay? So say that happens where, and I'm saying this because this must be for somebody, okay? This must be for someone that'll come across this message. But anyway, say that happened where so-and-so cheated on you, y'all broke up, so-and-so went and told everybody that you were a big cheater, okay? And then people didn't know who to believe, who was the real bad guy in the relationship, etc., etc. Now say 2 months from now, just say, that ex went on to date somebody else after you, okay? And they went and cheated on that new partner as well, and did that new partner the same dirty that they did you, okay? Now, that ex-partner and them break up, and it'll be just like that too. It'll be just like that, where all of a sudden, boom, they just break up. And it'll be because, and it'll be like that second person catches them in the act or something like that, because that's the karmic justice coming back for you, right? From y'all's relationship in the past. And then now that new partner, the new ex, will go and tell somebody else that why'd y'all break up? Because they cheated on me. And then that person be like, maybe that person, that narcissist, is the cheater. Because the chosen one, the narcissist said the chosen one cheated, but the chosen one made it like the narcissist cheated, and now the second partner is saying that they cheated as well. And so that's how it works out, is that the second partner is saying all the same things that you said. You see what I'm saying? And so right there and then, that is how this narcissist gets exposed, gets shown for who they really are. And this narcissist was able to keep up the facade and appearance that they were a good lover and a good partner, but that was until they ran out of gas, until they ran out, right? Until they were down to their last $50, till they played all their aces. Because they already played their aces with you, they had one left, and they played it with this second partner. And so now they're down for the count. And so like I said, that must be an example for somebody, but I'm just saying that that's going to be what's happening, chosen one, is that it's going to be like that, is that people are going to start to put 2 and 2 together, and they're going to start to see the truth about who these people really are and who they've always been, and who you really are and who you've always been, okay? The Lord is going to right the wrongs. Like I was saying, if they wanted you to gain weight, you're going to lose it. If they wanted you to, say, for instance, like, they were doing things to try to make you look ugly, whether that's physically or internally, like where people saw you as a ugly person inside and on the outside, you are going to be more attractive on the inside and the outside, okay? It's going to be like the opposite. So they were trying to make people see you as an ugly person on the inside and the outside, but instead you're going to be an even more attractive person on the outside and the inside. They wanted people to not pay any attention to you. You're going to have so much attention on you. The Lord is going to reverse things. He's going to reset it. He's going to right the wrongs, okay? If they took anything from you, it is going to be returned. If they took friends and these friends are of good quality, that they're going to be returned. The weeds the weeds and tares that these narcissists took away from you, they're not coming back, and these narcissists did you a favor. And they're going to see that. They're going to see that they wanted you with no friends, but in reality, all they did was take away the toxic, narcissistic people from you that would have just brought you down. And so there's going to be so many different things that are going to be coming to pass, chosen one, okay? Is like the Lord's going to be exposing things. The Lord is going to be resetting things. He's going to make wrongs right. He's going to reveal the truth on hidden things that have been hidden and covered up. The doors are going to be blown open on it. So yeah, and this is all going to end up humbling these narcissistic people, whether they're on a minor scale or a major scale, right? And also, you're also going to have restoration. The Lord is saying, hallelujah, you're going to have restoration. So you're going to have your finances, you're going to get, everything's going to be back how it should be. And in some cases, it's going to be a double portion, okay? So say you had some finances and they tried to take finances away from you. Either they did this like by having people not give you money, or they tried to create obstacles so that you would like lose your job, or like lose a connection of like a stream of income, something like that, right? Say for instance, you do, you're a content creator, okay? You're a content creator. They're going and telling everybody all this stuff about you intentionally so that people don't tune into your channel or to your platform, whatever you may be doing, so that you lose revenue that way. You know what I'm saying? Or say you have a business, same thing. You have your own hair shop or your own, mechanic shop. They're going and telling people things about you so that they don't come and use you, so that you lose business. Okay, so that you lose revenue. Like things like that. Or whatever it may be, fill in the blank, right? Or they literally came up with some plan to try to steal money from you somehow, some way. Or you got scammed and they were behind the scam. Like something, like they went outside of the box to try to come up with a way that you could lose thousands or something. For some of you all, we've heard it too, where perhaps you had an inheritance, right? And they tried to do things behind the scenes to take that inheritance away from you. And this is something that actually the Lord has had me look up in the past, is like, you all would be shocked, surprised, and in awe if you knew how many people have their inheritance taken from them. And apparently, if you have all the ducks in a row, it's not that hard to do. And you can like put yourself in a position to where you go in and look into it, investigate it, and get it all brought back. But what if you didn't know that was done in the first place, right? You know what I'm saying? We hear about people assuming people's identity. They take their identity and they do that so that they can pretend they're them, and take out credit cards in their name and all this kind of stuff, and you have no clue that they're even doing that until one day you get a bill or something like that, right? Meanwhile, they've already racked up thousands of dollars. So it's stuff like that where either in one way or another, they tried to decrease your finances, okay? You're going to receive your portion back. So if you start out with $1,000 and you're down to $10, you're going to get your $1,000 back. But then you're actually going to get, another 1,000 tacked on and end up with 2,000. So you went from 1,000 down to 10, and you're going to go to 2,000, right? You're 1,000 back plus another 1,000 just for your troubles. Okay, and then on top of it, if they had 1,000, they're going to go down to 10. So you're going to get it restored, balance restored, back to where you were, right? But then a double portion tacked on top, and then on top of that, they're going to lose what they have. And it'll be justified. This is why the Lord was saying justice will prevail, okay? So despite whatever they have been doing, they are doing, they think they're going to do, past, present, and future, it's all irrelevant. Justice will prevail. And, so at this time, they think things are going to go a certain way. It's not. They're pulling out all the stops to try to change things and turn things upside down. That's not going to happen. Even if it looks like it could maybe, or it might, no, it's not. God is going to take over mainstream. That's what he said. It was prophesied. That's what he's going to do. And that's what he is going to do. And he started to do it. And then all these people came out of the woodwork, these demonic narcissists, and were trying to find ways to sabotage people like Trump, who are trying to bring God back into the mainstream, sabotage chosen ones, make it look like they're crazy and all this other stuff, just to try to ruin their credibility. But the only reason that they had to do that was because their back was against the wall. They were feeling that chokehold. They were almost passed out. They knew that it was down to the last wire for them. And so because they had already played their aces, they were down to nothing good. They had to go all out. And now they've went all out, and it's to the point that they're going over and above. Like I said, going back to the Carney example, really? Now you're going to try and push a bill through that's going to try and squash freedom of speech and try to squash human rights? Like, really? You think that that's going to do it? You think that trying to control Canadian citizens by dictating what they can and can't talk about and trying to put a wrangle on their opinion and things like that, that's going to really bring you support? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, in efforts to try to dominate and to exercise complete dominance, it's to the next level of control, to the point of lunacy, right? And it's going to backfire. It's already been backfiring. He would have saved more face and been better off if he just took the high road and said, look at Trump, for instance. Everybody and their dog has something demeaning to say about him. Does he go and make bills that tell Americans they're not allowed to have freedom of speech? That you're going to have police visit your door if you say something negative about him or the government? No, because he's self-assured enough that it is what it is. Hey, some people will like me, some won't. Some days are good, some days are bad. Easy come, easy go. Right? Not everyone's going to like you. But this is how desperate the Canadian government is that they need to force people to like them, to where people aren't saying things not because they don't think them or feel them, but because they're literally being put in a position to where they can't. That's no longer a leader, that's a dictator. There's a big difference there. And nobody respects a dictator. Right? But that just proves how desperate he is. And obviously he doesn't have true bona fide support, because if he did, he wouldn't need to do all that. And so this is what I'm saying. It all falls in together, chosen one. Even though I'm talking about many different things in this message, it all funnels into the same pot. And so they've done that same thing to you, chosen one, where they've slandered you and said all the stuff about you like they've done with Trump. And just like Trump, you let it roll off your back. It is what it is. That you, hallelujah. I'm hearing that little saying of what other people think about me is none of my business. Hallelujah. You understand, chosen one, that what people think about you is none of your business, right? And that saying means that people are allowed and entitled to think what they want and to say what they want, right? In that way. Now, of course, if it's slander, that's different. Trying to say that, someone is something that they're not, that's different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about somebody saying, I don't like Carney, I don't like the government. In 2025, it was okay. In 2026, it's not. Like, come on. You know what I mean? And so, but yet there's Americans saying, I don't like Trump, I don't like the government, and they're, it's fine. And so the only thing that's different in scenario A and B is the leader, right? And so this is the thing, is that you can't dictate people. You cannot control them and force them. And that's exactly what Pharaoh was trying to do to the Israelites at the very end. First, he released them, and then he had a change of heart and decided, no, let me go after them after all. Let me exercise my authority. And that's what Carney's trying to do at this time, is that he doesn't have the support, because if he did, like he says he does, he wouldn't need to do all this, right? And so despite what it may look like or what it may seem, God is going to take care somehow, some way of the carny and liberal government situation. And again, that's a prophecy that's been prophesied since 2024. Because I was talking about that when Trudeau was in power. Because all that we've done is swap one inept leader for another. So anyways, on a side note, the situation in Canada it's crazy, okay? And if things are to go the way Carney wants to, he plans on trying to make them 10 times crazier. And 90% of his campaign plan is to force people into things that go against human rights. And, if you're really self-assured and secure and confident, you wouldn't need to do all that. You wouldn't be bothered or concerned by other people's thoughts and feelings. You wouldn't care how much support or lack of support you really truly have, right? And so this is the thing, Chosen One, is these narcissists have tried to take away your support. And they did this by saying terrible things about you, but it is going to be revealed as this unravels the true reasoning why they tried to take away your support and expose the truth that they're truly insecure. And they may have even said you're insecure, but the proof is in the pudding, because an insecure person wouldn't bother themselves with what other people think about them, but an insecure person would. And so when you're saying one thing and someone else is saying another, it's tough to know who's telling the truth, right? But when it's exposed and it's unraveled and these layers of the onion are peeled back to reveal the heart of the matter, it's going to be shown who the truly insecure one is and was. And that they did all this because of their own insecurity and their own ego. And when you have insecurity plus ego, you get jealousy and envy, okay? It's a byproduct. And so they're going to see that these people are truly, it was a facade. It was a mask all along. They're going to see that the true, miserable character of them, that the heart of them to the core is just this this insecure, vulnerable, hurt little person, and that the outside protective layer is misery, and that outside of that was fake. You know what I mean? A fake outside. And so they're going to start to see all those layers of these people. And they're also going to see the layers of you that on the outside you may appear a certain way, Chosen One, but to the core of you, layer after layer after layer, after it's pulled back, there's so many good things about you, Chosen One. When they pull back a layer, they see your strength. When they pull back another layer, they see your compassion. When they pull back another layer, they see your authenticity, your genuineness, right? And so this is the thing, is they're going to peel back the layers of the onion of these narcissists and just see more and more problems. But as they peel back the layers of the onion of you, Chosen One, they're going to see more and more goodness. And so anyways, that's basically the crux of the message, is that the Lord is saying that justice will prevail. And the reason why it's looked a certain way or been daunting is because of having to fight these giants in the promised land. And you've already defeated 75 to 95% of them, Chosen One, because everyone's on different timelines, right? Different journeys. But you've already slayed that many. And you've been doing this throughout the fall and winter season. And this is why you've been nonstop attacked. And the more that you're defeating them and the more that they're being exposed, that they don't have, not only do they not have the 10 grand that they say, they don't even have the 1,000 anymore. And they don't even have the 500 anymore. They've whittled their way all the way down to $50. And so it's fine. It's okay. So many times people have only had $50. That's it. But the trick is just accept that, right? Just say, I only have $50. It's could be better, could be worse. guess I got to figure out a way to work on my currency, whether that's physical currency or spiritual currency, right? Because we can be spiritually depleted and have money in the bank, but we can also be spiritually full, right? Spiritually rich and wealthy and have no money in the bank, right? And so that's the thing, is these narcissists are in a position where they're in spiritual debt and they're in physical debt. They're low on physical money and they're low on spiritual money as well. They don't have currency. And it's starting to be revealed, the truth of it, to themselves and also to others. And this all formulates the grand plan, because when they're exposed, it shows the truth of you, chosen one. It shows the truth of them, and it shows the truth of you by contrast, right? But then it also shows the truth of them to themselves. And in order for, I've talked about this so many times, hallelujah, in order for us to, what happens when you unravel that spool of thread? You come to the end of it, right? These people need to come to the end of themselves, where there's no thread left. There's not a drop left. It's gone. Because that is what we call rock bottom, right? And when you hit that point, no longer can you be in denial. Okay? And so then that's when you can start to work on yourself and say, I'm not a perfect person. I don't have to be a perfect person. Nobody, not everybody has to like me. Nobody's opinion of me should validate who I am. And once these people start to get that memo, they will stop being so egotistical. It's all in efforts of trying to be accepted and be validated and be appreciated and all this stuff, which is nice, but it's being done in a false way. And then once you get that, that's where true humility lies, where true security, true confidence, true authenticity, that's where that is, okay? And this is a lesson you already learned, chosen one. You already walked this a long time ago when you were in the wilderness. You're not in the wilderness, chosen one. You're in the promised land. You're just having to battle out for it. And when these giants are slayed and defeated, which most of them are, once that happens, they're going to the wilderness. I rebuke you, Satan, in the mighty name of Jesus. Sorry, y'all, just give me a second. There we go. Do you see that? Do you see how my voice is just perfectly fine? I start spilling the truth, hitting the nail on the head, and instantly we have to try to attack my voice. Don't say that, stop spilling the beans. This the other thing too is like that. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with my voice, and as soon as I say that, when I rebuke the devil, it clears up every time, right? That's what it is, chosen one, is they don't want your truth, because your truth changes things, okay? Even with myself, chosen one, it doesn't matter how many people check out my videos, how many subs I have, this, that, and the third. Just by me coming, I could talk to myself, which I basically am doing when I'm recording a video, but you know what I'm saying. I could talk to myself in my vehicle, all to myself, by myself, and I would change things, because the truth is being put out in the atmosphere. I'm calling a spade a spade. You know what I'm saying? I'm not accepting the facade where I'm saying, oh no, it must be something else. Not saying if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, looks like a duck, it must be a duck. Well, they want it to look like a duck, sound like a duck, walk like a duck, and have you call it a cat. Like that's not going to happen, right? And so even with me and my little niche over here, when I call a spade, they don't like that. They want me to shut up. They want all the prophetic voices that hit the nail on the head daily to shut up. They don't want people to speak the truth. And that is exactly why the Carney government is wanting to put the kibosh on people talking. Right? And this is the other thing you've been battling for in the last couple of seasons too, chosen one, is the truth. You've been battling for the truth. You've been battling for the reward of truth, so that you can speak the truth, so that others can learn the truth, so they can find out the truth about these narcissist demons and find out the truth about you, chosen one. You've been battling it out for the reward and the merit of the truth, whether you realize it or not. They want everything to stay a lie, and you said, oh no, that's not happening. I want the truth. I want to know that I want the truth. Like, you, chosen one, you're like, I want to know the truth. I want everyone else to know the truth. I want the story set straight. I want them to know what the truth is. I want to know what people are hiding. I want all the truth to come out in the open. My truth, your truth, the truth, all the truth, right? And this is something they've been battling you about, is because they want to cover up the truth. They want more lies to be believed and all this stuff. And so the more that you've been battling every day, chosen one, every day, every week, every month, taking out these giants, the more and more that they're losing the ability and the allowance of keeping up with the facade and the lies. So every giant you take out is 10 more nuggets of truth. You know what I'm trying to say? And this is why there's more and more exposure being either leaked out or being seen or revealed or heard or paid attention to or something like that, is because of the rewarding of the battling that you're doing, chosen one. If you just sat on your laurels and ate chocolates all day, they would win. They would get away with it. This stuff would never come out. It would be buried. And they're so desperate to have their plan happen that they're just now trying to force it. Like, okay, well, I didn't win fair and square, so I'm a sore loser. So instead, I'm just going to make people not talk. I'm just going to gag everybody. I'm just going to threaten everybody. Hey, if you talk about me or the government, you're going to jail. You know what I mean? Like, what? Like, tell me you're a sore loser without telling me you're a sore loser. You never had to do that, chosen one. You never had to fight dirty like that. You know what I mean? Like, you've always fought fair. And it was with integrity, right? With integrity, and always doing it the justified way, the righteous way. Hallelujah. So, anyways, chosen one, I'm rambling. So I'm going to wrap this message up here, okay? But yeah, I'll be back if the Lord leads me to with anything else on this, which he very well may. But just know, chosen one, that this is what you've been doing. This is why it's been so daunting. It hasn't been for nothing, okay? You know, we're in a new season now. We're in a new year now. Hallelujah. And we're moving forward into a new thing. And the prophecies are going to come to pass, okay? There was prophecies last year of peace. It's coming. Prophecies of Jesus and God being first and foremost. It's coming. Prophecies of corrupt leaders falling and righteous leaders replacing them. It's coming. Prophecies of chosen ones getting recognized for who they really are and narcissistic demons getting recognized for who they truly are. It's coming, okay? Prophecies of healing, where chosen ones are going to be healed through restoration. You've already pretty much done, we're never done healing, chosen one, okay? But you've done the bulk of the inner healing. The Lord now needs to restitute you on the outside, right? You know what I'm saying, chosen one? You've already accomplished a lot spiritually. Now it's time to accomplish things physically, where your outside world looks like your inner world type of a thing, okay? And that's what's coming up for you, chosen one. Just like, I just want to say, just like with Joseph, where he unlocked the gift of dream interpretation inside first, interpreted Pharaoh's dream, and then all of a sudden the next step was on the outside. Pharaoh gave him the gold ring and the gold robe and all that stuff, and he first was the authoritative leader, king, so to speak, inside, and then he became the authoritative leader, king on the outside. And so that his outside reflected his inside, right? His inside was rich, so his outside had to look rich as well, right? I know you get what I mean, chosen one. And same thing is going to go for these narcissistic demons. These ones are ugly and dead inside, and so their outside has to reflect that as well. No more chosen ones being rich inside, looking poor outside, and these demons being poor inside, looking rich outside. God is done with that. These poor people inside are going to look poor outside, and these rich people inside are going to look rich outside. He's setting it back to righting the wrongs, right? Putting it back how it's supposed to be. Like I said, they wanted you to gain weight, you're going to lose it. They wanted you ugly, you're going to be attractive. They wanted you to look old, you're going to look young. They wanted you to struggle, you're going to be abundant, okay? It's going to be righting the wrongs that they've been trying to do. And the reason why they've gotten away with it thus far, so to speak, in a contextual way they have, is because just like in the promised land they had to battle the giants, just like in Exodus Pharaoh rode his chariots till the wheels fell off after the Israelites. God gave them the time, that they got to have to try to, put their money where their mouth is, like give you a run for your money, so to speak, right? But you've slayed, like I said, you've slayed over half of them already. And so it's just a matter of time. Now you're taking out the last ones. You have been and you are, right? And so it's started unraveling for them, chosen one, and they know it. And it's causing them to feel very like they're going for the jugular, right? For you, for everybody, all this, they're going to the extreme, to the next level, because they've been exposed to you, to themselves, and to others, okay? And they're fearful of what the future holds, because if it's already like this today, what's it going to be like next month? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm going to leave this message here. As always, those who have ears to hear will hear. You will know if this message is for you, and the Lord will lead the right ones to this message in his right and perfect timing. So on that note, chosen one, I hope this message finds you well. Take care, and God bless.